한번 기대해 보도록 하겠습니다. 두 명의 선수가 준비를 했고요. 전자 신백두대 간의 살펴보겠습니다.
Alright, welcome back everybody. As we go into game 3 of this best of 3, it is Bisu versus ToSky. We're back in 2006. This is the September 28th game in this best of 3 on Sin Peaks of Bakdu. And it is the 9th MBC Survivor League. These players both trying to qualify for the MSL. One player gets eliminated, one player advances forward. On this 2-player map, it is Zerg favored. Right now, only an 8-7 ratio, but in the end, in the history of the books, it is a 58% win rate for Zergs. It's a hard fourth base to take for Protoss players, and a sad day for Protoss players indeed. Alright, let's see if we need to push forward to get to see the game here. Alright, and now the intro lights do get cued. Where are these two players going to spawn? Here's the excitement as the countdown comes down. The fangirls yelling in the background. And it looks like we're going to see on Twin Peaks, the Zerg player is going to be spawning at that lucky, faithful 1 o'clock position. It is going to be ToSky. Meanwhile, Bisu, he is the Protoss player. He is going to be spawning at the bottom left at that 7 o'clock position. Got the pro splitting down, the drone splitting down. Both these players just trying to warm up their hands, amp up their micro. This has been a pretty intense series. Bisu, he almost fought his way back in. ToSky wasn't able to defend all his base locations, and the harassment by Bisu was really strong. But ToSky, he overcame it. He had a really strong strategy of Hydralisks and Lurkers to bust down that natural base, took advantage of the situation that Bisu was in without those observers, hit the timing attack right before Storm, and unfortunately Bisu was eliminated from that, was defeated in that second game. So it's tied up 1-1, ToSky with an opportunity to make a reverse kill on Bisu and come back and win this rubber match. Is he going to be able to do it? Natural base is a pretty obvious one for Protoss as you go down your ramp here. But I'm kind of curious about the position that Bisu put his pylon in and how he's going to forge expand out of that. As he's done in every ZVP we've seen so far in the MSL, in the 8th Survivor League and the 9th Survivor League, Bisu always opens up. Actually, no, I take that back. He opened up 2-gate. I think in the first game that we saw of the 8th MBC Survivor League that Bisu played in. So that was pretty interesting here. Now Bisu, he's actually harassing. Is he going to be able to harass again? Okay, so there is a drone that comes down. The probe goes inside of the main base to get the scout out. And now Bisu is going to go for a Nexus first. Alright. So that's what Bisu was kind of waiting for here. He didn't even bother to put down a forge. So really fast 14 Nexus is going to be what Bisu's going for here. Meanwhile, the spawning pool is going to come down after the hatchery. So hatch first, followed by spawning pool. I guess that you call that the overhatch, if you want to. So, or 12 hatch, whatever you want. There's so many ways to say Zerg build orders. Meanwhile, the Overlord, it has made its way towards the main base and will just be entering very shortly here to get all the information on Bisu's main. The hatchery will be finishing up pretty soon here. And if you guys don't know, this is universal for all buildings. All buildings, when you start building them, start with 10% health. Because I guess a Blizzard really saw that there's a situation, and this had to get patched. I think it got patched, is that buildings could get 1 hit when you started building them, because it would start from 1 health instead of 10% of their health. So kind of something interesting to think about. So if you put down a Nexus, obviously it's going to have a lot more health than if you put down just a pylon at the start. So it's not a consistent starting number, but it is a consistent percentage here. Meanwhile, the third base for ToSky has been chosen, and he's decided to go for the top left corner. And if we look at Sin Peaks, there is 2 different locations that you can attack into that third base that that ToSky has. There's a wide ramp, but you have to go up a small ramp and down a small ramp near the 2 o'clock position to get to the wide ramp to go to the third base. Otherwise, you could charge up the third. There's a ramp right next to it that you could go up the front on, which is the scouting fog of war pattern that we can see revealed for ToSky. And here's a lot of links. This is going to be a ton of pressure here. And can Bisu hold on? It's going to be critical. His cannon just finishing up here. And ToSky with actually not the best link control here. And his Zealot does come out. I feel like if ToSky focused on the morphing, the warping in photon cannon, that he could have been able to take it out. But Bisu, he reacted really good right there. As a Protoss player, you want to pull your probes at your natural base to defend at all costs. In those situations, because honestly, if you don't and you lose your cannons, then you're done anyway. So it's worth losing a few extra probes early on to let your cannons get the damage they need to deal. Great job by Bisu again, scouting at the third base. In all 3 games now, he's been able to identify where the third is and what the build orders are going to be to an extent early on in this game. And that Overlord's kind of like taunting Bisu. It's got to be, because ToSky, he can get full information, and unless Bisu decides to build a cannon or a Dragoon, he's not going to be able to force that Overlord away from his main base. And it looks like an Overlord, but what else is ToSky going to be morphing over here? Is he going to be using that third for gas? Is he going to be using it for minerals? I'm not quite sure, but this seems like a more Hydralisk favored type map. And so I would assume that Bisu is going to be preparing for that. But a ton of Lings out right now. And the Lings actually, okay, it looks like they do have speed now. And is this Ling speed pressure going to be too much for Bisu? Oh my god, this is a ton. He's got three control groups at this point. There's no Reavers out. A Dragoon, which is not going to be too helpful against Lings. The damage is going to be so slow here. And here comes the huge move in. Bisu might have to pull probes again. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier on. And ToSky, he's actually losing his Lings really quickly. ToSky! Oh my god, he made a huge mistake right here and actually lost all his Lings by not controlling and focusing down everything properly. He could have been a little bit more patient. He didn't kill off a single cannon. I think he maybe have killed like 1 or 2 Zealots here, and now the lair is just on its way. So ToSky has no direction from here. It looks like Bisu's on top of the world right now. And he's got a probe in the back here. Is he going to build a pylon? It would be really cool if he decided to do a really late cannon rush on his Zerg opponent in the back here. If anything, he could build a gateway and start pumping out Dark Templars. That would be definitely something exciting. But no, it looks like the Lings do figure out that there is a probe in the back here. And so ToSky, he is being map aware. He's just not very aware of how to actually control Lings, because he had an opportunity. I think the best thing that he could have done is tried to run right up the ramp and inside of the main base where there aren't any cannons, there are no Zealots, and he could have maybe like rush killed the Nexus inside of the main base. And that would have been worth it, I guess, for the amount of Lings. But the larva that he lost to produce all those Lings, just think about how heavy and droned up his economy could be at this point. So the Dark Templars are out. Slow Overlords are still a thing. And it looks like stationary defenses are all that ToSky is going to be hoping for here. And meanwhile, a Spire is on its way too. So this could be a 3-base Muta attack, because all these Lings have allowed ToSky to save up tons and tons of stores of gas here. Oh, look at this block by Bisu. He's still hacking away. In fact, he might be able to get the Dark Templar through. And a really bad block here. And another Dark Templar at that third base. And there's only one sunken. He should be able to get some decent damage here. Drones are going to have to get pulled from the main base. Meanwhile, the Spire is still not finished yet. It's getting towards the closing stages of its morphing and evolution sequence of that building. Meanwhile, the Dark Templar for Bisu is hidden towards the bottom right, or top right again, just like that probe was. Seems like Protoss units just like to make their home up in that location. The morphing Archon too. It looks like Bisu is getting ready to prepare for his push after he deals the economic damage that he feels he can go for here. And the Dark Templar does get detected. Still, 1 shot, 2 shot, taken on 2 drones right away. Meanwhile, too many drones are mining that gas because of the pressure of the Dark Templar there. And Bisu's not doing anything with it. Bisu, Why is his Dark Templar must be on like hold position or something to not be getting any damage on? But at least it was forcing a lot of drones to not mine minerals at that base. And Bisu manages to escape with his Dark Templars again, so it seems like these guys are just incredibly hard to deal with by ToSky. Meanwhile, High Templars are pushing out. Psionic Storm should be finished at this point in the game, and Bisu should be looking for a third base at this time too. Especially with the amount of probes he has, he should be up past a 40 count on the probes. Probably in the 50s and 60s right now as far as probes go, but that's about where you want to take that third base. And Archon getting one swipe on these Mutalisks, but this is a ton of Mutalisks coming up and flocks as they try and do their damage against Bisu. But there's nothing left behind to defend here, as we saw that the Love of the Lings died off and drones are going to have to get transferred. If these Mutalisks die right now, this is going to be the end of the game. ToSky will not be able to advance. He's got to fight for, he is the Zerg Hope, isn't he? So Zealots are applying pressure at that third base. The hatchery is going to fall down. Meanwhile, an Archon at the front, it's actually hitting that muted by attacking the Sunken Colony. So Archons are just completely deathly against the Zerg race. And the drone does, or the Dragoon picks off an Overlord, so really nice pick off there. Meanwhile, the Archon can finally move in to help defend at the main base. And a huge storm here. ToSky, he loses all his mutas. And a huge mistake here. And automatically calls GG. Oh, storm into GG is the sweetest victory for a Protoss player. And it looks like Bisu will advance. Is that it? I think Bisu will now advance. Okay, so Bisu has won it. He has won his group stages of the MBC Survivor League and will be advancing to GOM TV's MSL Season 1 in the round of 32, where next week on Monday we will resume watching him play Kanata on Longinus 2. So thank you guys very much. This is the end of the Bisu Hour. I hope you enjoyed it, and hang in next Monday as we will be watching Bisu versus Kanata in the GOM TV MSL Season 1. Everybody have a great weekend and take care.